So we tried to get on
Oh well.
Facebook. I sent invitations. Apparently it wasn't working. And then a friend of ours, Janelle, was like, oh, same thing last week. So we went on Instagram and you're working. So
Oh hey, well I'm here now. So
we are
yeah, I don't know what
here
happened. I don't know what happened. Fun times with
with
social media.
technology. So ridiculous.
You know, it's probably
So,
an update on my phone that I have to do or something stupid.
no, that's so crazy. I've done it a couple times and it worked great. But yeah, technology. We just roll with it. We're just going to make it work.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we're happy to be on Instagram.
Yay.
Awesome. So let's give a backstory. So I'm Kim Porter, professional makeup artist and life and business coach for women. And we've known each other. Mike Dragon is a photographer in the same area that I'm in. We've known each other for a long time, and we've both had really great, successful businesses, but we've also struggled. And we've had some private messages on Facebook where we've discussed it. But Mike, you actually posted a blog post the other day kind of discussing And it just instantly, I was like, I want to hear more about this, and I think we should share more of this story that you have. So, you want to tell a little bit about who you are and what you've been going through?
Yeah. So
tell Facebook we're here.
Yeah. So so I've been a photographer for like 15 years now, going on my 15th year. About 8 of those years, I've been doing this full time. And so with that, like when you start a business, everything ebbs and flows over the years. When you start, everything's exciting and it's new and it's fun. And then eventually like hard work sets in and it gets real and you have to like get out there and start pushing. And then, I think, I don't know, somewhere along the line, I think there just comes a point where you just start to learn too much, whether it's like, because I started becoming parts of these groups and organizations and learning stuff behind the scenes and getting further into the industry. And it's like anything, you start to see things, and you start to hear things, and you're like, oh, well, that's like that. That's kind of, strange, or that's, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And some of it's like sad in the way that people treat each other and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, I think for me, it was like a big shell shock in terms of like, you just think everything is like roses and sunshine all the time and everybody's friends. And then you come to learn that it's not exactly like that. And
no, we're in a cutthroat community and a cutthroat industry
which is crazy.
We're in the wedding industry where it's all about love.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's not very loving at times.
No.
And I think too, like you and I have worked on projects together. We've done things, that it's like when you're successful and people see you as successful, they perceive your life to be a certain way, but it starts to, in my case, it started to take over. It started to take over my life. I was disconnected from my children. I was always on my phone or my computer. I had no idea how to shut it off. I would leave family vacations to go to work. Couldn't say no to anyone. And then totally burnt myself out. So, it's like, where's the happy medium of like being successful, but also feeling centered. And I like what you're saying. Like you have to be a little selfish. You have to take care of yourself. So what are you doing to take care of yourself?
So, and I should preface this, like this has been like a couple years of like a process. It's been longer than that, but like, over the last couple of years, it kind of got, I don't want to say out of control, but like, I'll say worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, like the feelings got worse and more, frequent, I would say, of like self-doubt and the anxiety and the depression and like feeling like, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to be able to do this. Everybody hates me.
Which you totally
like,
are because you're killing it.
Yeah, but then, I don't know. And like, I think that's just part of like, being an artist. Process. Like you think everything you do sucks and, you're like, this is horrible. I hate it. Everyone else hates it. And you start like manifesting those feelings. So it's like you said, it's easy to get like stuck in that like work and climbing the ladder and just climbing. I think it's like everyone defines success so differently.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was like, well, I've hit all my goals. I have my house. I have my beautiful family. I have my gorgeous little children.
Yep.
I have like all the things that I want to have. I have business, but it's like, why is that not enough? Like, when is it enough kind of thing? Like what's enough is enough. And I think I decided that, not to say enough is enough right now, but like, I like where I'm at. And I think that was kind of like the answer to the question, like what next? And I think it's kind of like, well, why not this? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Why can't I be happy with where I'm at? And
like,
that's exactly the same. Like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to hit milestone. After, I think when we're driven, very goal-oriented people, once we hit all the milestones, I'm like, I want my name in a magazine. Okay, what's next? What's next?
yeah.
And then you're like, really? Like, what's next? And that's exactly what the question I had. Like, what am I striving so hard for? What am I hoping
Right.
to achieve out of this? So I think that's so true. And so what did you, I sent you some questions, so I kind of want to go back to those, but
Sure.
striving meant for you, it was, you said self-doubt. It was this place where you're constantly trying to reach a new level, and then you kind of finally go, like, what's the point? Is that kind of how it felt?
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, exactly. You know, it was kind of like, when's enough going to be enough? And then kind of like, and saying, this is cool. Like, I am where I wanted to be.
Yes. And I've hit all the goals.
And this is good.
So then
I've hit, right.
Every goal.
So here's what I started doing. So over the last couple of years, I've done a lot of things. So finding like a hobby, right? Like finding something to do with my time that takes time. It was a new kind of endeavor, something that I've enjoyed in the past, and that's been like getting outside, hiking, camping, just going outside, riding my bike, doing anything to get out and be active, and or not even be active, leisurely, you know, whatever, just something.
Yeah,
and,
other than your business.
And not only that, but like when I do those things, I leave my camera at home, or I can't say that. That's not being honest. I bring a camera, but I don't bring, you know, like all my gear. I don't bring like 50 pounds of camera gear. I actually purchase like a smaller camera to take with me that is like.
Would it be like capturing the passion that you had before, where it was just
almost
fun?
Yeah, like going back to like getting back to the roots of like what made me happy.
Yeah,
before.
I say that to my coaching clients all the time. Like, remember why you started, because we can forget what we started doing. We for my business was to be able to stay home with my kids more and to have that freedom, the time freedom and the money freedom. And when you're working, you know, I think you were working 40 weddings, and I remember you saying, like, I work 40 weddings a year, and I was like, then I'm going to do 50. And I totally burned myself out. It was like, what was I thinking? That was so
It's crazy, man. 40, I don't do 40 anymore. I do 30. And that was another thing that I started noticing was like, I love weddings. I still love weddings. I love photographing, everything that I do. But I started diversifying more rather than like relying so heavily on just the weddings.
Yeah.
I wanted to start doing more. And now like my family portraits and stuff like that are booming. I'm doing a ton more commercial. I'm doing a lot of marketing for local businesses. I'm doing a lot of corporate stuff. I mean, it's like anything. And boudoir, you know, we started that too. And like all the stuff that I have going on with Misty, starting other businesses and endeavors. But really, you know, it's kind of like a mix of all these things, you know. I think that, you know, one of the things that I said in the blog was liking the struggle between the work and the life. It's like when I'm doing the fun things, I'm not thinking about work. And when I'm working, I'm thinking about the next time I can do the fun thing. So it's kind of like giving me that outlet of
to be where you're at when you're there. So when I'm at work, I'm enjoying my work. When I'm at home, I can enjoy my home life. And a lot of entrepreneurs can't do that. They are so caught up in the
work all the
time.
You know, you look at the uber successful people, and you know, as morbid and sad as it is, like when you look at Steve Jobs, I bring that up a lot. It's like you look at those kinds of guys who have like all the wealth and success that you think that they might have, and when their time is up
at the end,
they're like, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. And you know, we lost my wife's father a few years ago, and you know, that was freaking rough, man. Like that's a rough thing to go through regardless, but you know, it kind of helped both of us in realizing like what's important, you know.
Now,
you know, my laundry sits for a few extra days because I'm like, you know, and the dishes might pile up, but you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to go and like
Have
go
fun.
for a bike ride with our
And
kids
live
and
your
like,
life.
who cares? Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
my son is 2 years old and he loves to snuggle. And if I'm working and he's like, Dad, I snuggle. I'm like, all right, bro, like we're going to snuggle.
Yeah.
Even if it's for 10 minutes of your life away from work, what's it matter? And,
Yeah.
you
Really.
know, to kind of like further on that point, one big thing that I started doing was giving myself days off and putting them on my calendar.
Yep.
And what I did was I started working 2 days at a time. I would work 2 days and take a day off.
Yeah.
And that has been one huge thing for me to do. And I've even like kind of like upped that level a little bit and was staying on the work 2 days, off a day. And when I was off, I was not working because I was like, you know what? In this industry, what can't wait 24 hours?
Really. Well, but you would be surprised because they'll email you and then they'll Facebook message you and then they'll text you and I'm like, I have a life and I have 3 children. And you give me like, hold on a second.
Well, you know what you can do? You take your phone and you go like
Boundaries.
this and you go, I'm going to put my phone down.
Boundaries. I mean, it's
Right.
because it never ends. And the people who want your attention and the people who want you to respond back never ends. And so if you don't put a boundary there, you will just constantly be glued to your computer.
You have to set that precedent up
Yes.
front. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. I hear that all the time. Well, my clients email me at 2 a.m. Okay.
I'm not responding to that. Nope.
We'll respond tomorrow. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
No, really. It's true. And in the beginning, it's fun. What I think you're supposed to say, like in the beginning of your business, when you're building it and it becomes successful, it is so exciting. And you're like,
Right.
yes, I built this. But then I led straight to burnout. And it was, you lose your passion when you get to that level. So
You end up hating it. You end up like,
resenting it. And,
Right.
you know, it's like email after email. So I've learned to like nip that in the bud. And when I start to feel that overwhelm, that's when I know I need to say no. And I need to start putting up boundaries. So I
Right.
love that. It's so important as small business owners that we do that. And so you've got a lot of projects going on. So it's almost like counterintuitive. You have so much going on, but yet you have more peace.
right.
So how do you build all these businesses and do so many more projects, but then still find that center?
Well, I mean, I work from home, so I'm constantly with my kids, right? So, I mean, it just comes down to that, like, you know, constantly trying to like stay busy, work, do the things I'm supposed to do, keep my clients happy by not taking 6 months to return their photos, but at the
Yeah.
same time, keep my family happy, spend time with my wife. And a lot of times, like, she gets home at like 4:35 and, you know, sometimes that's when my day stops. And it stops and the computer goes away, the phone for the most part goes away.
It's like
you know,
everything's on the phone, so it's kind of hard to
Right.
put that away. But no,
Right.
it's exactly right. And dinner,
And-
like having dinner and
dinner,
being
right.
present. Yeah.
100%. I'll put the phone somewhere else, you know, and that's a huge thing. Like if you know your phone is a problem, put it in your bedroom, put it in a drawer, put it away.
Yeah.
They make these things called kitchen safes where it's a little box and you can put something in it and set a timer for an hour. For 20 minutes, you can set it for 20 minutes, an hour, up to 10 days, and it's locked. Like in the instructions, it's
Are you
like,
serious?
if this is damaged or locked, you have to destroy it to
Oh my
get
gosh.
whatever's in there out. It's made to curb people's like whatever, but you could totally throw a phone in there and lock it.
Oh, like you put your cookies in there if you're like
Yeah,
trying to lose weight.
yeah. You put cookies in there, like whatever your vice is, you put it
Yeah,
in
your
there,
vice,
and you can
yeah.
lock it, and it's locked for that time, and you cannot
That's
override
pretty
it.
crazy.
You can't override it. You can't get it out. And I'm like, you could totally drill like a tiny little hole and put
If
a
you
charging
need to.
cable in there to charge
Yeah.
your phone at night
Yeah.
and like lock it until 24 hours later, until
And
the
it's-
next day or whatever.
It's kind of sad that we've gotten to that, but
Right.
we are addicted to our phones. And if you're a small business owner and you're constantly getting the email and the text and all the things, like it is hard to shut that off. But what happens if we don't shut it off? And what happens like if we go 30 years from now and our kids, you know, it's like that Cats in the Cradle song, you know. That's what I think about. I don't want that life. I don't want my
Right.
kids to be like, yeah, mom was
Right.
here, but she wasn't here. And
Right.
and I lived my life for like that for a few years before it dawned on me And I was pregnant with our third. She was an unexpected pregnancy, and I had 3 photo shoots that day, and I ended up carrying my case upstairs because I didn't want anyone to know I was pregnant, and we hadn't made the announcement.
Right.
And a month later, I started bleeding at a wedding, and so
That's crazy. Yeah.
I was able to finish the bride, and I had to drive myself to the ER, and I thought, what is the point of all of this? Why am I doing this to myself? Like, if something were to happen to this pregnancy, you know, is it worth it? Is it worth trying to do all the things and make everyone happy? You have to make yourself happy.
Right.
It's
the put your mask on first mentality.
It is.
You know,
it has
you
to
know,
be. Yeah.
and it makes a lot of sense in trying to do those things, and you know, not going out of your way to like make other people happy. Like Will Smith says, you know, his wife's happiness is not his problem.
Oh yeah, that's like a whole other episode in itself. It's like marriage and like how all that dynamic works. I love that. So one of the things in your blog post that I was like, wait a minute, you were like, self-help books are blah. And I was like, I love self-help books.
Well, I mean, I meant like, you know, and everybody.
They're kind of lame.
You got to do what works for you. I've read stuff. And that's the thing. Like I've done it. Like I've read the things. I've had medication, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be medicated. I don't want to like read these books. And that's why I was kind of like, you know, and some of these things I've taken from books and taken from other sources and stuff like that. Some of these ideas. And so it's just, after a while, you're kind of like, I'm not reading anymore. I can't read anymore. I can't, whatever.
It's a crutch.
And
I've noticed I use that as a crutch. And I'm like, one more book will save my life.
One more
book will have the answer. That's exactly what I need.
You know, for me, I think once I found like backpacking specifically and camping and going out.
That's what I was going to ask. What do you do?
That specifically for me was something that like opened up so many more doors to like put myself into the outdoors in uncomfortable situations to survive and thrive out there.
That sounds horrible to me, but
don't. But that's the thing. It's so much fun. Like once you learn how to do it, and that's the thing. It takes you away from all of this. Like when I'm out there, I don't have my phone. It stays. I sleep in a hammock, so it stays in the hammock for most of the time.
Yeah.
Like if I have it, it's because I'm recording a map on my All Trails app, and I'm making a map that I'm gonna share and to try to get other people to do it too. You know.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
It's becoming like a therapeutic thing. Like I feel like when I don't have a next outing planned,
you get a little antsy.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Where am I gonna go? What's my next move?
I haven't said this to you, but I mean, I think you're onto something. I think more guys and girls need to get out in nature and I'm not into that rustic, like you're into the rustic primitive camping.
You guys camping? You guys go camping with your kids and stuff?
But it's not rustic it's the only time the teenagers are off their phone. It's the only time they're connected to the earth and, you know, and just like being where they are. So I love that you're doing that. I think it's so important that we find that outlet. And you said you had been an outdoors person before, but did you lose it a little bit? You lost your connection with it?
I think it was the type of thing where, like everybody, they're like, camping sucks. Yeah. Camping sucks. Like, why do you do that? There's bugs and it's like rain and it's blah, blah, blah. But I think, like, to be honest, like finding what made me comfortable, and that's like being in the hammock. I've been outside. You can like fight the heat. You can fight the cold. You can fight the rain. You can fight the bugs, all within that system. And I think that for me was like a game changer and got me out more and more. But it's one of those things. I think I've had some really horrible times out in the woods, and I've had some really, really great times. Like there was a while. You keep going. Yeah. There was what seemed to be a camping curse that was on me, because every trip I planned, it would rain and I wouldn't go. And then it was like, you know, I got to the point where I was like, screw it. If it rains, I'm going. Yeah. You know? And this weekend, I'm going on Saturday. We're supposed to go like just hike around First Landing for 14 miles, and it's supposed to rain, and we're like, screw it, we're going anyway, you know?
And
Let's
it
go.
doesn't have to be, if primitive camping isn't your thing. I've done tent camping. I can totally tell you it's not my thing. But there is a passion in you that maybe you've let dormant, maybe you just haven't, you know, you've got work and life and let take over. So go back to that passion that you used to enjoy. Go back to that thing that used to light you up and find that joy again and find that peace again. And that, I think that's where the mindfulness comes in. You're talking about, you've got some things on meditation coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, so with like my 360 videos and stuff that I've been creating, that's been like one cool outlet to kind of like marry in with like going outside. It's like I'll take the 360 camera and do photos and video and record audio and like, you know, take audio recording gear and record birds chirping. It sounds so granola and like whatever, but it's super cool and it's so much fun to like find that new thing and be reinvigorated. And there was even a camping trip that I went on and I was by myself and I was like out there and I was miserable. I had this like overwhelming feeling that I didn't want to do it. And I bailed and I totally left. I packed all my crap up and I left. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, because, and the reason was that I had all my camera gear and I was out there like working. I had like a project that I gave myself and I was out there doing that. And I was like, I don't want this to be work. I don't want camping. I don't want this hobby to become work. So I was like, forget it. I'm leaving. I don't want to do this. And I went home and I thought about it for a good while. And, you know, once I kind of like decided I want to go outdoors to be outside, not to go take pictures
to
and
be connected
video.
with yourself. This is your, it sounds like this is your mindfulness. This is where you practice your mindfulness. And I think more people, we need to have this conversation more about get outside and get out in nature and go watch birds or, you know, it's whatever.
Just like sit there, you know, whatever.
Be
whatever.
outside.
Yeah.
Because we have lost that connection. We've
Right.
lost that that connection with ourselves, and we've lost that connection with our families and our relationships. So my hat goes off to you. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think
Thank you.
You talking about it is something that needs to be talked about. And I think people are coming up more and understanding how anxiety and depression are affecting us, but more men aren't talking about it as much. And I think it's important that we have this conversation.
I have some guy friends who have like approached me and like, because I don't want to like single anybody out, but I have some friends and stuff that have either like come and joined me, and my door is always open. Like if somebody wants to hit me up and be like, yo, let's, you know, I want to go for a walk. Let's like do this. Like, let's go. And you know, I'll show you around. I'll do whatever. Like we don't even have to talk about outdoor tips and tricks or whatever. Can we just go hang out? Like, you know, I'm a guy. We don't have to go chit-chat.
Conversation, right? Like connection. We're missing that connection. Yeah.
Right.
No,
like let's go do it. And some people have said like, you know, I've been doing the same thing. I've been watching you and getting outside and going and doing something. And that's not what you don't have to like do that specifically, but like find a hobby. Like my wife started doing yoga. She even used the spa as a hobby. She was like, the spa is going to be my hobby because that made her happy, and going to the spa made her happy. And now that's turned into like yoga, and she does hot yoga, you know, multiple times a night, or sorry, not a night, a week. She's just always there.
Very busy.
There's like a room in our house. It's a hot yoga room. No, but she, you know, that's her hobby and that's her thing. And, you know, you can tell when you find something like that, like an immediate difference in yourself. And when you're married, sometimes it's tough because when I'm gone, she has to watch the kids. And when she's gone, I have to like do all those things. So you have to have that open conversation, communication, and respect for the people around you, because, you know, it's that put your mask on first mentality. You have to be okay with yourself before you can help other people. And you know, I want her to be in a good mood every day, because if she's not,
we all pay for it now.
She's way better than she's so much better. She's so much better than me at that. But at the same time, like, we both want each other to be happy. And so if one of us has to have like a day or a weekend that's not that great or that's long because the other one's out, then
Yeah.
that's
No, you
what.
make, I think you make it, and it's important. We have to take that initiative to make ourselves do the things that maybe feel uncomfortable or maybe we don't have time for. I hear that all the time. I don't have time. I don't have time for self-care. I don't have time. And I say, if you don't have time, 15 minutes a day to meditate or take some time for yourself, you don't have a life. You have a prison.
Right.
That's not how we're supposed to be living. So this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For joining me. And sorry, Facebook didn't work, but Instagram worked
Instagram came through.
Instagram, I have been on the cough drop. So
Ooh, yeah.
I know.
Awesome.
Preschool germs are so much fun.
Again, that's another blog in itself that we
preschool and their germs and all
okay.
the nastiness that they bring home. I know. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike Dragon.
My pleasure.
And everyone, go follow him and get what he's doing outside and like bringing this nature and making primitive camping cool. I'm
gonna get you out. Come hang out with us. Come on.
We'll see about that.
I got Misty outside and she
did.
Loves it now.
And she looks great. She's been working hard.
She's been killing it, man. So if I could get Misty Pruitt to come outside, I could get anybody.
I think that's a good thing. That's a good challenge for you to have. That's awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you and take care. And
all right, you too.
soon.
All right.
Bye,
all right,
Mike.
Kim. See ya. Bye.